GM. GM. So I want to look at a couple of higher time frame views on altcoins, starting with BTC though, so we can frame it. And mostly, I want to take some of this away. Well, not that. I want to take away all this. And just look at BTC here. So, in the short term, Bitcoin looks a bit high. All right, it's bounced off the lows. 1, 2, 3. Now, obviously, you had the options expiry, so this might be just getting suppressed, but you've got 3 attempts to go higher, really 4, even today. 4 attempts to go above 62, all rejecting. It's probably going to go back to 60. Like, it's probably going to test the other side. Again, you know, I always talk about options expiry. It could be that the options expiry was keeping price suppressed. So there is a possibility. If we get above 62, I think we shoot to 64 pretty quickly, right? So I think at above 62, there's a pretty sharp squeeze. But if not, we're actually looking at a pullback, and I want to look at that for the reason of some of these alts. So ETH, to me, is in this old value area, right? ETH's in the value area, probably going to go to the value area low, especially if it can't flip the point of control. So that would tell me ETH's probably going to go lower. Sol has came to the value area low of its distribution and is actually back up around the POC. But of course, the problem with Sol is that pump, you have to watch and see what happens today. Does that pump hold, or does it fully retrace because it was just a news pump? Pepe is building itself up pretty nicely here between the levels. So if I zoom in, look at Pepe here. Here's one of the paths I mentioned on Pepe. I think Pepe has pumped out to the highs, took out the upper end of this range. It's kind of chopping around the weekly open. I want to see Pepe come into one of these levels, right? Either the previous all-time high or the March all-time high, and form a bottom. So I think Pepe will soon give some kind of setup. I just wouldn't buy it here. Getting long Pepe here, you've no good invalidation, because on a low time frame, you get long there. Where do you put your stop loss? You put your stop there, but it can easily drop back there. It can drop all the way back to here and still be in a bullish setup. So a bit of patience required of Pepe, and I think eventually patience will be rewarded. Ondo, talked about this on altcoin requests. I think Ondo's probably cooked. I mean, this to me looks like a bearish pennant starting to form that will eventually lead to a rollover and going lower. Because when you have that pennant, you know, the compression forming on the way down, it's often a continuation sign. Chainlink, I mean, it's been a while since I looked at Link. I know I was tracking it a while back. Really simple, right? Bearish, no June rally if it loses 15. What happened when it lost 15? Bearish, no June rally. So potentially Link is coming back down to hold this support. Although I would zoom out on this to a daily and look at it and say, how many times is this going to tap support before it just actually breaks through? You know, is the market really going to hold here? I don't think so, but stranger things have happened, I guess. And then Toncoin, Telegram, I think in the very slow process of topping out and going lower. Maybe it won't, but it's starting to look heavy to me, and I think it might head back towards support. So as I look through the market, and as I did on altcoin requests yesterday, there's really not a lot that is showing much strength. Cash having a 10% pump, nice for AKT. More from a function, I think, of being oversold, but you might see the daily bands flipping green soon, which could give at least a trade back up towards the range high, which would be interesting. I guess maybe it's forming a fucking giant channel like this. You could see it. And we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, though, really, apart from a cash, there's fucking nothing's really green on the day. And that makes sense. There's not a lot of bullish narratives for us to really catch on to. And there's not a lot of incentive to push the market higher and all that kind of stuff. So I think the market is maybe 2-3 weeks away. Well, no. I mean, I said about a week ago that I think it's 2 months away from being bullish. And I'm going to stick with that. It's probably a couple of months away still. 6 weeks from having some bottoming formations and then starting to move noticeably higher. So that would be what I'm looking at today. GM. And that's about it. See you on the live stream. 5 p.m. No, 4 p.m. UTC. GM.